Hi, Crystal here. Welcome to another video with the Interactive Immersive HQ. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this minimalistic generative animation. This is inspired when I went to the Cyprus Museum in Nicosia, Cyprus, and looking at the pottery they have. This is around 700 to 1000 BC, and I was very inspired by the geometric shapes, and I just thought it would be really interesting to see this move and do something in TouchDesigner. So I was deciding what's the best way to approach this. I thought about maybe doing instancing in SOPs, but I end up deciding to just doing everything in tops. So we're going to use a lot of ramp tops, circles and rectangles and compositing. And I hope you can use these techniques to make something on your own. So let's get started. So I broke up this composition in a few different methods because it could get pretty busy quite fast in the network. So I divided by having this center part, as I called the trio wheel, and then these are the quad wheels or quad circles. And then there's also this kind of like bouncing ball circle over here. And here we have like the outer borders, which is like these lines, these mirrored vertical lines, and these like red lines over here. So I'm going to use a lot of annotation boxes just so we can keep things organized as we get more layers in this project. Let's clean network. Let's start putting down the ramps. I'm going to make a ramp top. And all of these tops, and I make sure that I keep it in the same resolution, and I'm going to have it to be 1080 by 1080. I'm going to have 3 different ramp tops, but for the first ramp top, I'm going to have it to be radial. And it's radial. I'm going to have the period to be 0.15. So you can see how this is like the little quarter sections of the wheel. And I'm going to have the space to constantly be moving. So I'm going to do our handy abs time dot seconds. So it's moving. And some of these other things I'm going to change. I'm going to change this interpolate notches to be ease in to ease out, and I feel like that gives like a more rich color over here. And for this white value over here, I'm going to have the alpha to be off, and I'm going to add a null after this and call this radial ramp. I'll copy and paste this because we're going to make another ramp. And now you made sure this ramp resolution is the same, 1080 by 1080. I'm going to change this to be a circular. Cool, circular. And I'm going to change this period though to be 0.06. Looks good. And this, I'll change the name to be circular ramp. Great. And I'm going to make one more ramp. Copy and paste this. This ramp parameter, I'm going to change this to be vertical. And it's really fast. I'm going to have it be abs times dot seconds times 0.02. So to slow it down. And everything else, I'll keep it the same for now. Maybe rename this to be vertical. Great. These are going to be all my ramps section. I'm going to make an annotation box over here. I'm going to call this ramps. Have this to be blue. Great. So we have all the ramps ready. And let's start making this like trio, the wheel spinning that's in the center. I'll start by having a circle top. And we're going to do a lot of circle tops, but this will be our first circle top. And whenever you have a circle top, for this project, let me make sure it's all in the same resolution. So I'm going to have it to be a 1080 by 1080. And this radius, I'll have it to be 0.18. 0.18. And feel free to play around with these radius sizes. This was just what I end up with the composition I have. So 0.18. And after this, I'm going to drop a select top. And this select top, I'm going to select this radial ramp. So what you can do is just drag it on here, or you can also, in the parameter, drag it in this top parameter. I'm going to have a multiply after this and connect these two. Great, and now we have a little smaller spiral pie thing over here. Great. I will make another circle top. Let me just copy it and paste this circle top. So the second circle top, the radius, I'm going to have it be 0.32. 0.32. The border width, I'm going to increase this by 0.15 and have this fill alpha to be 0. I'm going to change this border color to be white. Great. And I'm going to add another select top. And the select top, I'm going to select this circular ramp. I'm going to add a multiply. And copy these two together. Then this can just be layered over this. I'm going to add a overtop and have this. And you can play with, if you like the look, you can increase this border width, because it's kind of also cool to have a little bit of an overlap pattern. Your own preference. After this, I'm going to add a null. I'm going to call this null. Call this wheel. I'm going to add another circle top. And this circle, I'm going to have the radius to be 0.25. 0.25. And I'm going to change this border color to be like a red color. And what I had previous is 0.8, 0.2, and this border width to be 0.03. And I just want this to have a layer around it. I'm going to add a screen top. And pipe this into the screen top. Nice. And we got our first wheel. Let's make this into 3 wheels. We will add a transform top off this. And this transform top, we on the tile page, and make this to be repeat. Change the scale to be 0.3 by 0.3. And you notice because the tiling, then if we add this, you're just going to have more. And if you scale this down, you just have a bunch of these wheels. What we're going to do is we just want 3 of these. So we're going to crop these out by make this limit to be on. And I'm going to have this crop this by 0 and 1. Now we just have 3 of these. But there's so much space between these two, or all these 3, and I want them to be closer touching together. So what we can do is to scale this up so this fits perfectly in this border. Let's add another transform top, and I'll just scale this up to 1.5, a bit more, 1.53, 1.53. So they kind of almost touch. But now you notice as it scales bigger that we see these little tops and bottoms peeking out. So in this, back to the second transform, in this tiled V, let's crop that out. We can put -1, so now it's out, and 1.99. Now we just see these 3. Yes. I'm going to just put this all in one annotation box. Call this Cypriot wheels. Let's give it a yellow color. Great. Next, let's do the 4 wheels around it. I'm going to add a select top. Select top. And I'm going to select the circular ramp. And I'm going to add a and I'm going to just copy and paste this circle, first circle we had. Pretty much the same method we did before. Multiply top, and we'll pipe this and this together. Now we have this circular ramp. Let's tile this. What do we use? A tile top. And in this tile top, I'm going to, on a tile page, put repeat Y to be 1, and going to change, wait, on a tile top, and let's add a null after this. I'll call this quad wheels, quad circles. It's in a different annotation box. We might need to adjust this later as we're comping everything together, and we call this quad circles. I'm going to give it the same yellow color. Last section, I'm going to have these bouncing circles. Add another circle top. Make sure the circle top resolution is 1080 by 1080. I have this to be a lot smaller, so the circle, I'm going to have this radius to be just 0.1, 0.1. I want it to be the same red color, so we had 0.8, 0.2, 0.2 for that red. Great. And I'm going to add another tile top. But rather than having 4, I just want 2. So this repeat Y, I'm going to change it to 1. And right now it's like stretched and looks funny. So if you have this overlap, overlap, let's see, we're going to change this overlap U to be 0.5. And now it doesn't look so big. This is pretty big circles, so after this, let's actually make this smaller. 0.04. That sounds good. And add a transform before this. And we'll use a transform. Oops. To move in and out. But right now they move the same side, so I want to actually flip this. Reflect. Reflect. And as I move this, they'll be mirroring. I'm going to add a null. Call this bouncing circle. And what will make it to bounce, we'll add a LFO. Let's first comp this all together so we know how much we want to, what's the range we want to move this in. We'll put an annotation box for this. Call it the bouncing bounce circle. It's yellow. And we'll add a composite top. I'm going to layer them all together, so I'll change this to over. I'm going to add a null after this. Call this out. This viewer active and make this viewer active. And let's pipe all three of these into the composite. Let's see what you have so far. Cool. So I want to adjust these so they're closer together. And I want these balls to actually be smaller. So this quad tile, what we can do is to add a transform before the tile. And in this transform, I'm going to change the scale down. So in this transform, I'm going to adjust the translate. And we having the same thing that I said, that now it's adjusting all of them together. This tile, if we change it to be reflecting, I'm going to change the reflect X and Y on. So they'll get closer together as I'm changing this transform. 0.011, and let's lower this a little bit. Like this. So 0.11 and 0.2. And this circle meant to be even smaller. Something like 0.02. And I want this to be bouncing. The circle to be from 0.123 to be -0.08. So I'll add a LFO. And this is the only non-top thing we'll do. Because LFO, I'm going to change it to be this type. And I'll add a math. And I have the math to be range 0 to 1 to be -0.08 and You said start from 0.23, I believe. Let me check if that is correct, if that's the center. Yeah. So I'm going to add a null. I'll just pipe this, reference this into this translate. It's quite fast, so this LFO frequency, we can lower it. Maybe 0.3, and we can even give it a little bit of a easy in, easy out with a lag. I'm going to just turn this to be 0, so we have the center core of the animation. Let's add the rectangle lines around. We'll first do the ones that the ones that go up and down and animate. So we're going to add a rectangle top. And this rectangle top, make sure the resolution is 1080 by 1080. And the size will be 0.08 by 1. Have this to be 1 by 0.07. And this, I'm going to have this be higher, so the center, I'll change the Y to be 0.38. So I'm going to add a select top, and I'm going to select that vertical ramp we made beginning of the tutorial. Use animating, and we will add a multiply. Multiply these two together. And actually, I want to change this. That I want to have more lines, so let's change this period to a lower number. To 0.03. Seems good for now, and then we'll see if we want to mess with that a little bit. After this multiply, I'm going to add a mirror. And it just mirrors the two. I'm going to add a null. I'm going to call this vertical. Now I add the horizontal ones. I'm going to just copy and paste this rectangle over here. And I'm going to change this size to be 0.08 to 1. And the center to be 0.33 on one side. This color, I'm going to change this color fill to be the same red. I'm going to have the border width to be just a little bit, 0.025, and turn this fill alpha to 0. I have this border to be the same color of this red, so what we had was 0.8, 0.2, 0.2. And it's quite vibrant, and I'm going to turn down the border alpha just by have it to be 0.8, maybe 0.7. And the softness up just a little bit. Call this horizontal HOR for horizontal border. After this composite top, I'm going to add a transform. And after this transform, I'm going to add a composite. Right now, this wheel kind of takes up a lot of the space, and I actually wanted to scale it down so then the border, there's more space for the border. So these, I'm going to have it in a different annotation box. Just call it borders. And pipe this vertical in here and change this to be over and pipe this in here. These two. You'll see that you have these boxes on the side, and the thing is, once later we're going to have this be matted in a circle, so we won't see this, but if this bothers you, you can scale this up and we won't see the borders over here. So right now, these overlap. You can keep it this way, or you can scale this part smaller so it just holds within the border, like how I had it. The scale, I can just lower this down. And actually, this rectangle, I want to make this alpha even less. The softness, I'll keep the softness. Let's add a background onto this. So after this composite, add a transform. And this background color, you can select a kind of like an orangey tone and turn this comp over background color on. And make sure this alpha is also 1. I'm going to make this a little bit. I added a grain texture on mine, so you can do that by adding a noise top. Make sure this resolution is 1080 by 1080. And we'll change this noise type to be random. Add a level after this. And lower the opacity. Let's do 0.1. Or 0.09. And put an add top. And once we add that on top of the composition, it kind of gives a little bit more grain, and it's really nice with these like circular radial ramps. Gives a little bit more of a nice texture to it. So let's add a matte circle. So we'll add a circle top. Make sure this resolution is 1080 by 1080. And I have this radius to be 0.45 by 0.45. And add a multiply before the null out. And we can just multiply this together. After this, add a transform just to make a black background. So and just make this color 0001 and this comp over background color on. You can stop here, or I thought it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a glow on this. So what you can do is this circle, add a blur. And we're going to increase this blur to be filter size 17. Reshrink, I had it to be 4. And you can just add a over top before the transform. A lot of compositing, this one. And there you go. This is kind of a starting point. Definitely use this technique for other things. You can play with rather having this being a circle. What if it's a triangle? You can just easily do that by having the circle to turn on the polygon. That's a quite cool shape. You can even have it to be rotating. Or what if these circles is rotating and going in at the same time? Let's just have this, see what we do. Abs time. This be rotating. And this is something that's very scalable to make it your own. I'm excited to see what you do with this, and feel free to tag the Interactive Immersive HQ and myself. And if you post something on IG or anything in your socials, I'll leave my handle in the caption below. See you next time. Bye.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you like our YouTube content, I highly recommend you check out the Interactive and Immersive HQ Pro. The HQ Pro is the only comprehensive educational resource and community for immersive design, TouchDesigner, and creative tech pros. In the HQ Pro trainings, we cover almost any topic you can think of, and we go way more in depth than we do in our YouTube tutorials. We have a private group where Matthew Reagan, myself, and our other industry veteran and pioneer teachers answer your questions every single day. If that sounds cool, click the link in the description to learn more. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more free TouchDesigner and immersive content.